Hey, what's up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Banjo, the dog, coming at you live from my living room. And this is the Fantasy Footballin Show. Today's episode, I hope you guys like having fun while you're beating the crap out of all your league mates, because that's what we're going to talk about today. Stacking players from the same team. So the same, a quarterback for the Giants, not going to happen, with the same receiver from the Giants, and that's not going to happen. But that is the concept that we're talking about. This is a way to hit your opponent with an avalanche of points. Because, when Patrick Mahomes throws to Travis Kelce, you get all those points all at once. So I'm going to go through each one of my 5 top stacks. I'm going to start with the one I am least confident in, and then work my way to the top to the most confidence. And at the end of all of this, I'm going to share my notes. So stay tuned for the end of the episode. Number 5. We've got Aaron Rodgers throwing to Garrett Wilson. We already heard the offseason reports. Did you see that? I threw a ball to him. He turned around. He reminds me of Davante Adams. So the hype is real. So Rodgers' best 3 years, 2 MVPs, 111 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, were with Hackett. So he was with them for 3 seasons. And it's like an outlier in his career. Like, dude, he did amazing with him. The 10th round is looking like an extreme value for Aaron Rodgers. We're going to be talking about this. But if quarterbacks aren't mobile, like if they're not running the ball, they are probably not going to, top 5 is not in the range of outcomes, but I am seeing a top 10 in Aaron Rodgers' range of outcomes. This is going to be a revenge year for Aaron Rodgers. The last time he had something like this, he ripped off 2 MVPs with Nathaniel Hackett after they drafted Jordan Love. In Aaron Rodgers' worst year, he still threw 11 more touchdowns than Jets quarterbacks in 2022. And to tie into that, Garrett Wilson was tied for 8th in red zone targets with like 19. So now he gets maybe 11 more touchdowns worth of, that's like, dude, just think about the red zone targets coming from that. Garrett Wilson, not just red zone, but he was tied at 7 overall in targets with 147. So so he's getting targeted in the red zone and between the 20s a lot. So the big question mark here are the Jets offensive line. They have Vera Tucker, who is coming off an injury. They have Mekhi Becton coming off an injury. Those were both first round picks, blue chip prospects. They need them to perform very well. And then they also have McGovern as their center. He was the 10th ranked, center or offensive lineman for PFF last season. The range of outcomes for the Jets is huge. That's why I have them 5 on my list. You can imagine how fun it's going to be. Aaron Rodgers thrown to Garrett Wilson. Davante Adams 2.0. Number 4, Deshaun Watson, the guy that I kind of hate. And Amari Cooper. It's Amari. I love Amari. Hey, Amari Cooper. Derek Carr loved him. Then he got traded to the Cowboys. He made Dak Prescott what he is today. He loved him. Then he got traded over to, the Browns and hasn't seen a ton of success since. But as soon as they traded for Deshaun Watson, my first thought was, man, his quick slants, win at the point of attack. Deshaun Watson has that quick release. I think that is going to be a match made in heaven if things are clicking right, and they did not last season. There was a lot going on last season, a lot of variables going on. And all they did this offseason were take steps to help Deshaun Watson. They do have the 2nd-ranked offensive line, which minimizes risk here. We're going to talk about, you want to minimize risk with these stacks. Because if one goes down, it's like you're losing 2 players, dude. Just look at the Colts last season. Their offensive line went down. And guess what, man? Michael Pittman ate dust. All the experts loved him. And then Jonathan Taylor-Thomas did nothing until they kind of figured out the offensive line later on in the season with Jeff Saturday. They added Elijah Moore, and then they drafted 6'3" Tillman from Tennessee. Hendon Hooker was just throwing him all kinds of rainbow shots. It was amazing. This is a deep threat. Definitely can contribute his rookie season. And if you listen to all of the Browns coaches this offseason, they're putting an emphasis on passing the ball a lot more. They want to put Deshaun Watson in a position of success, and they see throwing the ball more doing that. And again, what is our goal for quarterbacks? We want a quarterback that can jump into the top 5. And what we see here is, dude, Deshaun Watson is getting 6 to 8 carries a game still. That is a rushing quarterback relative to everybody else. So, people are looking at Trevor Lawrence and stuff like that. Dude, I think that Deshaun Watson, everybody kind of hates him. He did terrible last season. So Deshaun Watson owners, they had to wait for him. Then they got him. He did terrible. That left a terrible taste in their mouth. They're not going to even think about getting Deshaun Watson this season. So it is your opportunity to buy low on Deshaun Watson. Watson is going in the 7th round. And then Amari Cooper is going in the 4th. And that could be a huge value if Amari performs like I think he can with Deshaun Watson. And lastly, Watson finished as QB6 in his last full season, 2020, and he scored 23.3 points a game, which would have put him at QB4 last season, right ahead of Burrow. Number 3, Herbert, Allen, Keenan Allen. Yes, I said him. We made fun of his hamstrings a lot last season, but man, like his depth per route run and everything had no drop off. He is 31 years old, and we're thinking about him being too old. Like hey, man, there hasn't been a wide receiver over like 30 years old that has scored in the top 24 of wide receiver fantasy since like 2019. And there was one that was Edelman, and guess what he relied on, dude? Not speed, just route running. And here we go with Keenan Allen. He is a superb PhD route runner. He teaches it at some colleges sometimes. Plus, he was still getting a 23% target share in this offense. So we're looking at Kellen Moore coming in. It's going to be explosive. It's probably going to be a top 10 scoring offense. They have the 11th ranked offensive line. Justin Herbert has the number 3 strength of schedule for quarterbacks. And again, with Allen, 64% of his routes ran were in the slot. And again, with Allen, 64% of his routes run were in the slot. And they drafted Quentin Johnson. He's going to be going on the outside. He's going to be hurting Mike Williams' value. So they did draft somebody. It's not going to hurt Keenan Allen. All the indicators are that he is not dropping off. He's going to be in a much improved offense with a super easy schedule and an amazing offensive line. All these indicators are great for Justin Herbert. We're going to see him score a lot more touchdowns, and his depth of target is going to go from Joe Lombardi's second worst in the NFL to Kellen Moore's top 10 in the NFL for a while. Plus, Justin Herbert has only averaged 3 rushes a game, for the last couple of years. And now Dak just averaged 4 rushes per game last season. So we can expect maybe a couple more rushing opportunities per game for Justin Herbert. You're going to be able to draft these two back to back. Herbert in the 5th, Allen in the 4th. I think that kind of makes it fun too. Number 2. Dude, Jared Goff is going in the same round as Bryce Young and Kenny Pickett. So you got to stop this stuff with Jared Goff, man, because he has top 10 potential. He has a number 4 ranked offensive line. He has a number 8 strength of schedule. So Goff finishes number 10 quarterback last season. He's being drafted as a number 18 quarterback this season. They picked up Sam Laporta, the pass-catching tight end, in the 2nd round, and Jahmyr Gibbs, the supreme pass-catching running back, in the 1st round. And then getting into Amon-Ra St. Brown. Dude, St. Brown, the 3rd player in NFL history to have 8 receptions in 8 consecutive games. Also third player in NFL history to have 90-plus receptions in his first 2 seasons. And now he has the same quarterback. James Williams is not going to be there for the first half. Hawkinson is gone still. And you think that Amon-Ra is just a hyper-targeted wide receiver between the 20s. But dude, he was tied for 6th in red zone targets last season. He was tied 9th overall in targets last year with 146. So look for this bromance to continue. Number 1. This duo literally won people championships last season. Mahomes, Kelce. You can get them in the 2nd and the 1st round, back-to-back, double tap it, and beat all your league mates because I am heavily pushing this season. Mahomes still has a 5th ranked offensive line going into next season. He has a number 14th strength of schedule, but I've said this before, I really don't care about any schedule stuff with Mahomes. He's going to score a bunch of points no matter what, which brings me into my next point. He is one of 3 quarterbacks who scored 21 fantasy points or more over 80% of the games last season. And then it drops off to 62% with Burrow. They were the number 2 and number 4 most common players occurring on championships teams last year. Kelce was number 6 overall in targets last season with 152. He was number 1 overall in red zone targets with 29. It is crazy, dude. Like, you draft these people, it's locked and loaded. You don't have to worry about anything. You have 2 huge positional advantages. Here are my notes for today, just in case you guys want to screenshot it, read it again, do whatever you want to do. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, man. Just taking the time to click that thumbs up. Somebody said oh my God, I wish you guys should have way more subscribers. I've been riding that high all day, man. I came home and did way more research. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So we don't get paid for this. So when you like or subscribe, it really does pay us in happiness. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.